We're looking at win totals on today's Peacock and Williamson over-unders for every team in the NFL. Will they win more or less games than their FanDuel win totals? Coming up right now.
NFL analyst Brian Peacock and former NFL scout Matt Williamson bring you expert NFL analysis every day in less than 30 minutes. Get an inside look at the NFL on the field and in the front office with elite breakdowns to next-level analysis and in-depth information only for the real NFL fans. This is Peacock and Williamson, and it starts now.
Welcome to the Peacock and Williamson NFL Show. Brian Peacock alongside Matt Williamson at BD Peacock at Williamson NFL. Thanks, everybody, for making us your first listen here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We're going to be covering the entire NFL for you as we do all season long and then all off season long and then doing it again all next year. It's what we do here on Peacock and Williamson and on the Locked On Podcast Network. So appreciate all the listeners and viewers, new and old. Make sure you're subscribed on YouTube or wherever you are listening to this podcast. Today's episode of Peacock and Williamson brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use code, all lowercase, LockedOnNFL to win $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. PrizePicks, run your game. All right, here we go. We're running through this alphabetically, starting in the AFC, and we'll finish up on the NFC side of things. We're going over under win totals as they are put out on FanDuel. FanDuel win totals starting in the AFC alphabetical, Matt. Baltimore Ravens are up first. The over-under is 10.5 wins for the Baltimore Ravens. You going over or under 10.5 in Baltimore this year?
Well, I don't think they get one tonight, but I'm still going over. And I think as the season goes on, this team will get better and better and better. And they have a tough schedule, tough division, but they also have an uncommon amount of rest advantage per Warren Sharp, which I think is a big deal.
The Ravens, even if they lose the opener against Kansas City, there's 11 wins on that schedule. They're a team that, even if they're not right, they're going to get it right. They've got an MVP caliber quarterback. They've got great coaching. They'll figure it out on defense with the new coaching staff there. No worries about the Baltimore Ravens this year. I do like them for 11 or more wins on the season. How about the Buffalo Bills? The same number for Buffalo, 10.5 wins.
So I think the season's going to start rougher for Buffalo. And I picked them to win the division, but I think they get to 10 in a somewhat rebuilding year, not 11.
I like the under for Buffalo. Maybe I'm underrating the coach quarterback combination and how important that is in the NFL, which is usually something I always talk about, how important it is, and you're never going to dip too far if you have that. But just a lot of questions on how this comes together for the Buffalo Bills. And we talked yesterday, and I did reluctantly pick the Bills at home against the Arizona Cardinals. If they're playing against a different team or maybe on the road, I don't know if I would like them as much in week one. I think it's going to be a tough road in the AFC East too.
Yes, very much so.
And so it's going to be a hard-fought division. And so I'm going less than. I'm going to go under 10.5 wins for the Buffalo Bills this year.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Next up is the Cincinnati Bengals. And a team you know well. Again, 10.5 is the number for the Cincinnati Bengals in the AFC North, Matt.
Going over, but I do have some reservations about the defense bouncing back, Burrow's health. Is Chase going to sit out? I mean, what's going on with that? But I picked the Bengals to win the division. So if I'm going over on the Ravens, sounds like I should go over on the Bengals, right?
Sounds like it. I'm going to go under on the Bengals. I'm going to go under on the Cincinnati Bengals just because for all the too many, if this has to happen and if this has to happen and if this has to happen. And can we see a full season of Joe Burrow, please? So and look, I don't expect them to be as bad as they were last year, quarterback injuries aside, but
sure.
It's still a lot has to go right here with this team. And I think they'll be right there. I think this is a good number for them, but I'm going to go 10 wins on the year for the Cincinnati Bengals, and they're going to be in the mix, but I don't have them winning the division either. I actually like this team a little bit more because of the defense in Cleveland, and 8.5 wins seems too low for me for the Cleveland Browns. Are they going to get acceptable quarterback play? I think they probably will. I think this is a 9-10 win team. all day long because of what they can do on defense. So give me the Cleveland Browns over on 8.5, Matt.
I hear you, but probably everyone on the planet already knows I'm going to go over on Steelers, and I can't go over on everybody in the division. So I'm going to go under. I'm going under on the Browns. I just think the quarterback situation is very suspect. I think this could be a very average offense.
Deshaun, like, what is Deshaun Watson to you right now? Is he just not a good quarterback anymore?
It's been so long. I lean that way. I mean, since he was, like, I don't think they can ever bench him for Winston, but I think that Winston might be better at some point this year. He could bounce back. Like, I just think there's been too much. It's been too long. And I just haven't seen anything.
He just has to bounce back to a place of being an acceptable starting quarterback.
Right.
That shouldn't be impossible for what he was. He was a top 5 quarterback in the NFL.
I know, but that was 2020.
He's still not even 30 years old, is he?
And I would feel much better. I know running backs don't matter, but if they had Nick Chubb in his prime, I'd feel much better. You know, like
they're going
to lean on Watson, and I just don't think he's lean onable.
Yeah, you're going to lean on Mari Cooper.
Right. The quarterback can't get it to him. The Joe
Ford early.
Right.
They'll get Chubb back.
I don't know if he'll be the same, though. That's a bad injury.
The Denver Broncos. We've been accused, Matt, of being haters on the Denver Broncos this year. You know who's hater on the Denver Broncos? FanDuel. 5.5 wins is the over-under for the Denver Broncos this year. I mean, we're talking about a team here that's going to be drafted in the top 5, maybe even a worse team than they were last year. 5.5 is the over-under with a rookie starting quarterback for the Denver Broncos.
I think Peyton gets them there. Run the ball, have some efficiency on offense. The defense is so-so, but can they beat the Chargers or Raiders 2 out of 4 times and get close to this number? You know, I'm going to say yes, but like everyone, I take too many overs in this exercise.
This is the time of year to be optimistic. Tomorrow, that all changes, right? But today, right now, before we've seen a single regular season game, we can be optimistic about some of these teams. And for those Broncos fans listening that think we're haters, Matt and I both picking the over on 5.5.
Just a pretty low number.
That's not a huge hurdle. Like 6 wins. Come on, rookie quarterback Bo Nix. Nobody's played more college football in the history of the world than Bo Nix. He should be ready to win a couple of games there.
I think they'll have a running game and they have a coach. You know.
Next, we have, who was that? That was the Denver Broncos. We've got the Houston Texans next. You know, I've been gushing about the Houston Texans. Disrespectful 9.5 wins for this team that is better than they were last year. This is a double-digit win team all day long for me. Way over, easy hit. In fact, I'm putting my money on it right now, clicking on here.
I didn't study the lines before this, but I thought for sure I'd go under because I thought it'd be like 11.5. But this number's too low.
You were going to bet on the plexiglass, and they didn't even give you the opportunity to do it, man.
No, I think they can get to 10 easily. I mean, I thought for sure it'd be 10.5, 11. You know, so the number's too low. I'm definitely going over.
Maybe they know something we don't know. Maybe I'm too optimistic about the Houston Texans this year.
I'm optimistic, but I thought I was going to be a little more realistic. But this number's pretty darn low for a team that could win the Super Bowl.
The team they are facing in week 1, you and I both picked the Texans to go on the road at Indy and win. 8.5 is the number. Over under wins. Is this a 500 team? Is this a better than 500 team or not? In Indianapolis, 8.5 wins is the over under, man.
Some of these, when I think the number's perfect, I'm just going to go under because I'm not taking enough unders, to be very honest with you. You know, if I'm going to try to go 32 out of 32 on these, teams have to lose. And I think 8.5 is exactly where the Colts should be, but I'm going to lean towards under.
Anthony Richardson needs to prove he's good, and I think he's going to be, and then prove he can be healthy for a full football season at any level, right? And so I just think there's enough there with the Colts to be like, okay, they could go anywhere. And so this is a high ceiling, low floor team. They do have the running game and the offensive line, which really helps. But how the passing game comes along here, for the Indianapolis Colts is really the big question I have. And defensively, it's like, okay, what exactly are you? And they might have defensive rookie of the year with the Colts. So again, it could be huge. It could go huge for them. But I think this is the right number. A lot of competition in the AFC. I'm going to go 8 wins, so slightly under on the Indianapolis Colts. I need to see it. Need to see it with this team. Another team I need to see it with, Jacksonville Jaguars next. We're going to finish up the AFC and then get to the NFC. Our predictions for over-under win totals for the entire NFL in 2024 next. Today's episode of Peacock and Williamson is brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play DFS, daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps on PrizePicks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is you play more or less. You pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch those winnings roll in. For example, one Caleb Williams passing yard. That's a pretty easy number to hit on PrizePicks. They're helping you out here in September. One Caleb Williams passing yard. All you have to say is, yeah, I think Caleb Williams is going to pass for more than that. And you win on PrizePicks every week in September. Only 1 yard gets you that automatic win every football weekend in September. 4 weeks of free W's basically there for your Caleb Williams pleasure. And I know a lot of Bears fans are excited about that. Might go a little bit more than 1 yard in a lot of ways. Players and stat types. There's so many different ways to play. Rushing yards, receiving yards, whatever it is, you can find it and have so much fun at PrizePicks. And all you got to do is download the PrizePicks app today and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL and get $50 instantly when you play just $5. That's code LOCKEDONNFL on PrizePicks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks. Run your game. Jacksonville Jaguars. It's the same number as the Indianapolis Colts. And I feel similarly about these two teams. They could be really good. They could be just so-so. And the numbers in that sort of a vein here for FanDuel. 8.5 is the over-under win total for the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2024, Matt.
Taking the same approach where I think it's a very good number. I'm a Lawrence fan, but there's also organizations I don't trust. That was part of my Cleveland situation that I think this is more like 8 than it is 9. So I'm going to lean towards the under.
I'm going to go 8 wins Colts, 9 wins Jaguars. I believe in the quarterback more. I don't know about the rest of it, but that's enough for me. And I'm going to go 1 win. So I'm going to go slightly over with the Jacksonville Jaguars, even though I feel so similarly about these two teams.
Mm-hmm. Good numbers, though.
And look, hit us up at BD Peacock, at Williamson NFL on the YouTube comments. Give us your argument. If we're kind of on the fence on these teams, let us know. Why are the Jaguars Colts going to be over 500 this year? Pretty sure the Kansas City Chiefs are going to be over 500. They've got one of the highest win totals at 11.5, Matt. Kansas City Chiefs over under 11.5 wins this year.
I have no problems going over. I think they'll be 6-0 in the division. That's a pretty good start. I think they win tonight. That's 7. I mean, even if I'm only half right about that and they get 6 out of those 7, that's pretty darn good. Maybe they rest starters in week 17 and I lose the bet, but I'll take my chances.
I'll take my chances with the backup quarterback winning enough games to get you to 11 if they do what you said, and even sitting Patrick Mahomes for games late in the year. So anyway, that's an easy over for me. I don't think they can make the over under quite high enough for a team like the Kansas City Chiefs in that division, as the way we see it.
Not a hard schedule.
So conversely, in the AFC West, the Las Vegas Raiders, the over under is just 6.5 wins.
I'm under here. I know Raiders fans get mad at me, but I think there's a lot of room for error. You mentioned coach quarterback. This might be 32nd on my list. Coach quarterback combination.
They're not dummies at FanDuel, and I'm sure they get way more over bets than under bets.
Of course.
So those unders have to hit at some point, right? So where do they hit? And I think a team like the Las Vegas Raiders is where that hits.
And that might not be bad for them. They might get their next quarterback of the future, you know?
And for the Raiders, it's just like, there's like Antonio Pierce is magical. Is your argument for them being a good team this year? And
I'm not on board with that yet.
Right. So, and maybe he is magical. I don't know.
Sure.
It looked that way in some cases last year. Can that continue into this year? We'll find out. I'm going under I think this is a team that's in contention for the number 1 pick in the draft, to be honest with you.
I agree.
Los Angeles Chargers. We're staying in the AFC West here, over under 8.5 wins for those Chargers. They like the Harbaugh bump here in Los Angeles. Does FanDuel for the Chargers?
My favorite bet so far. I'm going under hard. If this was 7, I think I'd go under.
I was
don't have any skill.
I was shocked when I saw this. This should be similar, 6.5, right? That should be what it is. And you're like, okay, yeah, over. I think Harbaugh's going to win some games. Look, they do have some pieces. Like if you're telling me, okay, look, you believe in Harbaugh, they got a great quarterback. Even if he doesn't have a lot of great weapons to throw to, they're going to be able to run the ball. They're going to be physical. They're going to play bullies. They're going to pull out some close games. And you do have, Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack. And
how many games do you get out of them, though?
Right. Yeah, that's true. Especially Bosa misses half his games in his career, it seems like. So, but 8.5 is high. That means are they going to be? I got to go under on here, even if you like where the Chargers are. This is just it's just put too high.
Screaming under to me.
Miami Dolphins, 9.5 wins for the Miami Dolphins. This is an easy over for me, man.
I'm going under. If it was 6 wins through the first 10 games, I'm in. I just think this team is not built to play late in the season. And I know they have some cold weather, tough, divisional games on the road late in the year.
Yeah, it is a tough schedule. I think they'll have enough wins early in the season that even if they do slide late in the year, they're going to get to 10 wins. And I'm just really, I'm a believer in that division of the Dolphins and the Jets this year. And I'm fading the Bills a little bit. So that's just where I'm at. And again, that might change in a couple weeks. So let me know.
Sure.
We have the New England Patriots, speaking of the AFC East, and they've got the lowest of the over-unders here with 4.5 wins. Can they get to 5 wins this year, man?
And they have them and the Steelers have the hardest schedule in the league. That's such a low number. I mean, I think that I mentioned how bad they were just at kicking, like field goals. They have to get better at that. But
they cut their 4th-round draft pick last year, the kicker.
I'm still going under. I think it could be the worst offense in the league, and I think Belichick's is important to the defense.
And they told us they're starting their worst quarterback.
Because they don't want. I think they just don't want May to get beat up because they know they're terrible.
The guy who played best, we're not even going to play him because that's how bad we think the offensive line could be, and we don't want to ruin him. And
Jacoby's like, well, how about you don't care about me?
It's such a low number. It's hard for me to go under, but I do think, again, this is the team I would bet drafts first. And we're going to be talking about this over under in December and maybe January if they do get to 5, I think. So
I think they were 32 on my power ranks.
Yeah, they're 32 on my power ranks as well. I'm going, they were 31 or 2. I think they were 32.
I can't remember. Yeah, I think they were 32.
Yep, I'm going to go under on that one, even though that's such a low one. And usually you want to kind of go over on the very lowest. They could win 5 games. The New York Jets, I'm going over here again. As I just mentioned, same argument as the Miami Dolphins. These are 10-win teams. I think it's going to be 1-2 in the East for the Jets and the Dolphins as long as they get healthy quarterback play all year.
Yeah, and I'm agreeing. I mean, if I'm going to go be rough on the rest of the division, then somebody's got to step up and win AFC East games. And the Jets have the best schedule in the division as well. I'm in. I'll go over.
I didn't like the picture you drew yesterday of the Pittsburgh Steelers offensive line, Matt.
Yeah.
And even though I did take the points for them against the Atlanta Falcons, I might not have taken them against other teams in week 1 because of that factor. And I need you to tell me if this is going to be an over 500 team or not. 8.5 is the win total for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
They always are. That's my strongest argument. I mean,
and
I'm going to go over.
Back than they were last year.
I think they're a better football team than they were last year. They're better at quarterback. They're better at offensive coordinator. And they always have a winning record. So I'm going to go over.
Last one here in the AFC is the Tennessee.
And where are you on the Steelers?
I'm going to go. Oh, man, I've been kind of fading the Steelers, and I kind of want to be the yin to your yang here on that. So I'm going to go under on the Steelers, even though your argument's not bad. Like they have a better quarterback situation than last year, which is the thing that was holding them back.
I think the defense is better too.
Tennessee Titans, 6.5 wins.
Under, but I don't feel strong about it. That's not a huge number to get to. Really tough schedule. Deep down, I don't trust Levis.
Yeah, too much has to go right for them to go way over. And I just think that they're one of the worst teams in the NFL on paper coming into this. I'm not a believer. So Titans, make me a believer. Right now, I can't go over, and I can't say that with confidence this team's going to win 7 games this year.
Yeah. That division's not bad.
Next, NFC over under win totals from FanDuel.com. Next. Today's episode of Peacock and Williamson is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. And finding those right professionals is key here, because LinkedIn isn't just a job board. LinkedIn helps you find professionals you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job but might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So to put it plainly, if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. And 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. So hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. In so many ways, LinkedIn helps small businesses who are wearing so many hats have extra time and resources to hire, with constantly finding new ways to make the process easier for those people looking for new employees. So post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. All right, here we go. We're going to the NFC side of things, and over under win total for the Arizona Cardinals in 2024, according to FanDuel, is 7.5 wins.
It's a little rich. I thought they were going to be around 6, and I think the defense is too bad. Feisty. I'm a fan. I like what they're doing there, but how many wins are they going to get in the division? Getting to 8 is a chore for that defense.
Worst front seven in the NFL. I
just
see how they win a lot of games, even if they're scrappy this year. I'm going under on that one pretty easily. The Atlanta Falcons, they won the offseason for a lot of folks. Do they win the regular season and get to double-digit wins? 9.5 is the number.
I think yes. Easiest schedule going. Should at least get 4 wins in the division. I think Cousins might start slow but come around. I think that's got a chance to be really good offense.
I don't like it because I think it's a better chance that they win like 8 than 11. You know what I mean? Like
I can't imagine 11. I thought this number would be a little lower.
So you have to win 10 exactly to win it if that's the case. So I'm going to go under on the Atlanta Falcons, even though I think there's a ceiling where they could go bigger, much bigger than that. In contention for team 32 in the NFL in our power rankings, I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it was you know what? I think it was actually the Panthers that were 32, and it was the Patriots that were 31. So if I went under on 4.5 for the Patriots, I got to go under for 5.5 on the Carolina Panthers, man.
I tend to agree. Division's much easier than New England. Schedule's a lot easier, but the underreported story is the defense got noticeably worse. You know, investing in the offense cost them defense. And I think the offense will be a little better, but I don't think it's going to be good. I'll go under.
8.5 wins is the over-under for the Chicago Bears starting a rookie quarterback. I like the direction this team's going, but I might need to slow the roll here, even on my expectations, even though I think things could go well. Tough division. I'm going under. I'm going 7 or 8 wins for the Bears this year, which is good, which is fine.
I agree. And I wouldn't go vastly under. I like what they're going, but rookie quarterback's all I need to say. And I'm not sure he's a great coach either.
Yeah, that's kind of the elephant in the room. Do they have the rest of it right, even if they got the quarterback right?
Right. You know, could they win 6, get a new coach, and everybody will want that job, and hire Belichick or whoever they want.
Dallas Cowboys, 9.5 wins here. Disrespectful number, in my opinion.
I'm going under. I just think they're fragile. I don't trust the running game. I think they get at least 4 wins in the division, though. But I'm going under.
I like the defense. I like Dak
a lot.
I think the running game the line is more important for the running game. And if you don't like the line, then maybe that could still be a problem. But I think the Dallas Cowboys get to 10, and I think they're in contention for that division all year long. So I'm going to take the over.
I'm switching. I think they get to 10. I thought this would be a little higher.
Detroit Lions, 10.5 wins for the team that fell just short of the Super Bowl last year.
They were my number 1 seed when we did predictions, so I think they get there. All those dome games. I think they're really good on both sides of the ball. I think this could be their year.
It's a good team. I
Yeah.
think they're going to win 11 games. Yeah.
I do too.
Could be 1 seed in the NFC this year. Similarly, Green Bay Packers, I think they're pretty close, and you get an extra win here at 9.5. So I'm going to take the over on the Packers as well.
Me too. It's one of my faves, to be honest with you. I think they were like a top 5 team in my power ranks, something like that. I kept moving them up. So I think they're easily a double-digit win team.
We've got the Los Angeles Rams next. Their over-under is 8.5.
Ooh, I was hoping that'd be 9.5, and I'd go under.
Yeah, same here.
Because the defense is rough. I had them just missing the playoffs. I'm going to go under just because I think there's some fragility to their age and Stafford and a bad defense. But I don't feel confident on that one.
This is my take for the Rams, and I've kind of been using it all week. And on Locked On 49ers, we've been doing a lot of previewing of the division. Mm-hmm. And we did our division preview series with all the other hosts in the division. And our guy, Doug McCain, who's the host of Locked On Rams, he thinks they're going to win the division. He's really high on it. And I'm like, well, look, I know you drafted a defensive end and a defensive tackle in the first 2 rounds, but you can't play 12 guys on defense. You can't actually replace Aaron Donald with 2 guys. Mm-hmm. And it is so dependent on Matthew Stafford, whose arm's hanging on by a string. So if I have to pick one or the other for this team, they could be really good and they could compete for the division. But I mean, it's just at some point, it's just I'm gonna go under. I'm gonna go under in the Rams. Yeah.
And I don't think Verse plus Fisk equals Donald.
Even if you played 12 guys.
right. If you let them, right.
I mean, and how much better did Aaron Donald make everybody else on what we called last year the no-name defense? And there's a couple names that popped up. And we traded away their starting linebacker and Ernest Jones too, by the way, to start the season.
And they lost their offensive coordinator.
They lost their top lieutenant on offense, who's the offensive coordinator in Atlanta, and their defensive coordinator, and Aaron Donald. And you're going to be better? I mean, that's hard for me.
Yeah, that's hard for me too.
Yeah. And Aaron Donald, it's funny because Aaron Donald put the stamp on Ernest Jones, the linebacker, as, okay, now it's your defense. Now it's your team. And they traded him away.
we can't stand this guy. He's got to go. We're giving away for nothing. I don't like it.
Good coaching, McVay. Good quarterback, man. And again, kind of like the Buffalo Bills. I'm fading them, even though they got the coach quarterback that I believe in. But still, it's like, oh, gosh, God.
There's a lot of room for error there.
Yep. Minnesota Vikings, 7.5. I'm going under here. I got Sam Darnold has not proven he sees an NFL field cleanly. And if he's still got that blindness and seeing ghosts out there, then their season's not going to go well. And they're a less talented team overall than they were last year. This might still be great for fantasy purposes for Justin Jefferson, but I don't know about the rest of it, even though I do believe in their coaching staff. 7.5 wins. I'm gonna take the under on the Vikings. I just don't like the way this is going for them this year.
I 100% agree. Strong under. One of the hardest schedules in the league and one of the hardest divisions in the league. Quarterback questions, interior line questions. I still have a lot of questions about the defense, so I'm very strong on the under there.
Our guy Aaron Schatz, the inventor of the DVOA statistic, loves the New Orleans Saints this year, Matt. This is a team I probably would have gone under on, but he has me thinking of maybe this is an underrated team and taking the over on 7.5 wins.
Ooh, I don't share his optimism on the Saints. I think they could be better, but their O-line is really bad. I'm going to go under.
I'm gonna go over. I'm gonna take the advice of a guy who's smarter than me, which is hard for me to do sometimes.
Yeah, smart way to live your life.
Over on the Saints, New York Giants 6.5. I do not like the Giants this year. I'm going under.
Yeah, I thought this number would be like 4.5 or 5-ish, and I was going to go over, but 6.5. I'm having a hard time seeing 7 wins.
10.5 wins for the Philadelphia Eagles. What team are we going to see in 2024 with the Eagles? The number 1 seed team that we saw for a long time, or the team that just really crashed and burned last year?
This is one of those examples of perfect line. I could see 10 or 11 wins. So I'm going to go under because I don't take enough unders. I think 10-7 is a solid year, and they're still a competitor, but they're not perfect,
Yeah, we've got a lot of double-digit win teams. There's got to be some teams that are under it. This is the perfect line. I think they're right there, 10 wins.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 10 wins for the Eagles.
Me too.
San Francisco 49ers, 11.5, tied for the highest over-under in the NFL this year. 11.5 wins for the 49ers for you, Matt.
I'm going under, but I think they get to 11. I mean, 10 or 11 seems like a logical number to me. I think the defense is slightly worse. I think the division is slightly better. Maybe they're 4-2 in the division.
I would have gone under easily last week. I'm going to go over, though. I feel similar to the Kansas City Chiefs with the 49ers, and I just think
we got all figured out now.
They're their best team. The vibes have flipped. They got all their pieces back, and they're just too good. So they're going to win a lot of games in the regular season. Can they win the Super Bowl is my big question, but they're going to be there in the playoffs unless there's catastrophic injuries.
I agree with that part.
Seattle Seahawks. I think this is a high floor, low ceiling team with a new coaching staff. But I like them as second place in the division. I think they've got a talented football team. They've got a more talented football team top to bottom, and this coaching staff could be really good. So 7.5 to me, I got to pick the over and think this is an 8 or 9 win team at least in Seattle.
100% agree. I think Geno's a much better player than given credit for. They got weapons. I think the defense will take a big step forward. I think it's a sneaky good team. I almost made them my last wild card team.
I'm surprised people are so down on the Seattle Seahawks this year. They got a lot of talent in a lot of places, and the most underrated quarterback maybe in the NFL.
Yep.
I like Jackson Smith and Jigba is going to be on the field a lot. By the way, they're gonna go from running the fewest plays to maybe the most plays in the NFL this year.
I think defensive front's pretty decent. I think they'll be a good team.
I think it's either Latu or Murphy for defensive rookie of the year. By the way, too.
Yeah, I think Murphy's going to be a big impact player.
Same number for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 7.5 wins.
Over. Really easy schedule. Should at least win 3 in the division, maybe 5, So they got some veterans. I'm going to go over there.
I'm going to go over as well. Yeah, I think all those teams are going to hover around 8 wins in that division.
Yeah, I think they're probably the second best team in that division, or maybe the best.
The final team in the NFL, it is the Washington Commanders, 6.5.
Under. I didn't even want to know what it is. I'm under on that. I think they're as bad as the Patriots in Carolina when it's all said and done. O-line and defense is rough.
Rebuild year. They're getting rid of all these players, young players, drafted players on their first contract within the last year or two. And they're building something for the future. They're not building something to win right now, today. Rookie quarterback. As fun as it might be to watch that development, I don't know if the wins are going to start rolling in this year. I'm going to go under as well.
Yeah, I think some of the old guys are counting on the Ecklers and Ertz. I mean, they're not going to hold up. And,
There you go. What do you think? Let us know at BD Peacock, at Williamson NFL. Drop a comment on YouTube. Subscribe while you're there or wherever you are listening to this podcast. Matt and I back tomorrow. Peacock and Williamson. All right.
Perfect.